action. So let's just start with you telling us your name and where you're from.
My name is Esther Mae Spain. I'm from Conway, South Carolina. I was born and raised out in the country, south of Conway, on a farm. My childhood, from what I can remember, I was a little girl, had 5 siblings around me. We grew up out in the country. We played a lot on the outside during the run of the day. And I remember my brothers and sisters going to school. I used to stand on the porch wanting to go to school on that big yellow school bus. And when the day came for me to go to school, the first day of school, I cried all day because I wanted to go back home to Mama. And we used to play a lot on the outside. The children played with the brick bats, tobacco sticks, made toys to play with. We was very creative in things that we played with. And we used to jump rope, play in the ditch of water when it rained, run the chickens, try to catch them. And those are some of the things that we did. I loved following my brothers, and they would climb the trees. I would climb the tree too. And we used to play, call it skinning the cat. That means you grab the tree limb with your hands and you make your body flip through your arms. And I used to do that. I loved it. My mother called me a tomboy because I followed the boys all the time and did the things that they like to do. As a little girl growing up on the farm, my father was a sharecropper for a number of, it was 4 different sharecroppers that we worked for, that we moved from farm to farm. And as a little girl, when we were big enough to work, we had to start working with our father and mother around the tobacco barn. And what we could do was pick up the leaves off the ground that fell because the tobacco stringers would drop some of them sometime. And that was my first job that I can remember, picking up tobacco leaves off the ground or handing the stringer a tobacco stick. Or hand them a roll of yarn so they could string tobacco on the stick. Sharecropping was when the owner of the farm would get hired a family of people to move on the farm with them. My father would help plant the crops. The owner on the farm would supply all the money for the crop. At the end of the year, when the crops are gathered, whatever the farmer made off the crops, my father would get a portion of it. He would get a half, and the owner would get half of it. And sometimes it wasn't always the owner getting half of it. Sometimes he got most of it because quite a few times my father did not get out of debt. If he owed some bills and the farmer had to pay the bills for him, he would deduct that from his portion of money for the run of the year. We always was stuck on that farm year after year because my father never seemed to get out of debt with the farmer. And that means we would have to work another year to see if we can get out of debt. So we didn't get out of debt sometimes for 2 and 3 years. And apparently we never did profit very much from sharecropping. We just benefit the owner of the farm. That's what I got from it. We didn't profit anything from sharecropping until after my mother decided that she was not going to sharecrop anymore. And she went to public work. And as she went to public work, some of the other children that was on the farm, they went to public work. And I happened to marry out the farm. And when all that happened, my father had to stop sharecropping because he didn't have no help. And the sharecropper was, he had lots of boys and girls. That means the farmer got plenty free labor from having, my father and mother had 9 children. So that means those children worked on that farm. My daddy didn't have to hire anybody to work. They got free labor from us, from 6 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon. We worked 12 hours a day until the work was done. And it was hard work. And as a child, I experienced a hog farm, tobacco farm, a corn farm, a vegetable farm, and we worked hard. Bushels of string beans and bushels of sweet potatoes and squash. And, it was just hard work. But we could not complain because we was on the other man's farm working, and Daddy was the sharecropper. And we had to do what they told us to do. No complaints whatsoever. I remember telling my daddy one time, my back was hurting. And he said, "You don't have a back, you got a gristle." Then I told him my gristle was hurting. That means I was tired. It was hard work. But I learned from that farming how to be able to benefit for my own self now in these days, because what I was taught on the farm taught me how to raise my high-rise garden at my home now. When I married off the farm, the day I got married, they was gathering tobacco. And I was so glad to know that I didn't have to work in that tobacco anymore. My husband and I, we went to the courthouse and we got married on the 7th day of July, 1970. And we stayed with his mother for a little while. And a few weeks following that, he was transported to Vietnam. And that left me there with my mother-in-law and my family. And after he was gone for a while, he came back home. We stayed with his mother for a while, and then we got our own place to live. And that's where we lived there from 71 to 76. We had 3 sons over in an area called Toddsville area south of Conway. And I wanted my sons to be a girl when they were born, but I ended up with 3 boys. But I'm thankful for them. They're wonderful. And it's been a long life for me. I learned a lot. And I really am thankful for what I was taught as a young child.